Bali, an island so beautiful it barely needs any introduction. Beaches, sunsets, and the promise of getting away from it all. And then you actually get there. Monkeys trying to steal your snacks. Every sip of water feels like a gamble you didn't sign up for. And the Indian Ocean deciding it wants your camera as a souvenir. But here's the thing about things going wrong in a place this beautiful. It makes an even better story. This is everything I did, ate, broke, and learned in 5 days in Bali. So, this is what paradise looks like, at least according to the internet. I could get used to this. But maybe not the heat or the humidity, because the 10-minute walk to Ubud Palace had already made that shower completely pointless. This is the historical residence of Ubud's royal family, and parts of it are still in use today. It's quite compact, but it's the details that make it worth visiting. Intricate carvings, traditional architecture, and dance performances that bring the courtyard to life every evening. For our first proper meal in Bali, we went somewhere slightly different. Merlin's is a restaurant that combines food with a touch of magic. You pick 3 tarot cards, your past, present, and future. And each one decides your appetizer, main, and dessert. So instead of choosing your food, the food chooses you. Which, after a red-eyed flight and being awake for about 36 hours, sounds pretty ideal. Of course, you can still swap things out if needed, like I did with my starter. In this heat, a cold ruby burrata just felt a lot more appealing than crispy spring rolls. And then the main is picked by the tarot card, which is a chicken truffle risotto. Oh, it's so rich and creamy and truffly. I'll admit, it does sound a bit gimmicky before coming, but the food actually surprised me. Everything was beautifully put together, and trusting the process meant I ended up trying something I probably wouldn't have ordered myself, which honestly is kind of the whole point. If there's one thing Bali never runs out of, it's things to do. And for me, the best way into any culture is always through the food. So naturally, day 2 starts with a cooking class at one of the most highly rated schools in Ubud. Our first stop, Tegallalang Market. A traditional local market that opens at dawn, and by 7 or 8 a.m. is already full of life. Stalls packed with fresh vegetables, tropical fruits, herbs, half of which I've never even seen before. Our guide walked us through everything, introducing us to some local breakfast snacks, tegallalang, fried bananas, and more fruit than I could keep track of. But one thing really stuck with me, salak, or snake fruit. It's sweet, slightly tangy, and surprisingly firm, almost like eating an apple. I'll definitely be missing this. As soon as we arrived at the farm, we're welcomed with Balinese coffee, some more breakfast bites, and a recipe book for everything we're about to cook. This is where it really became a farm-to-table experience. We headed straight into the garden, picking ingredients ourselves while learning about what grows here.
1, 2.
This weirdly reminded me of my childhood. Every summer and winter, I spent time at my grandparents' farm, getting quizzed on vegetables and fruit. Because growing up in the city, you don't really see where your food comes from anymore. Turns out chocolate doesn't just magically appear in a bar. It starts with these massive pods growing on trees.
Passion fruit.
And just like back then, the best fruit is always the ones straight from the tree. We ended up making 4 dishes: mixed vegetables, sweet and sour tempeh, chicken curry, and pork satay. What I did not expect was how much I learned just from the aromatics alone. A lot of shallots, garlic, chilies, but also ingredients I'm less familiar with. Lemongrass, kaffir lime leaves, salam leaf, and 4 different types of ginger.
White ginger, turmeric, ginger, galangal.
Everything was genuinely delicious, but the one that impressed me the most was the sweet and sour tempeh. Crispy, tangy, sweet, spicy. Just a full-on flavor explosion. The kind of dish where you keep eating just to figure out why you can't stop eating it. The only slight struggle was that the knives were quite blunt, which made chopping everything a bit of a challenge. But honestly, when you're cooking, eating, and meeting new people all at once, you don't really mind. It tasted like there's 5 sugar in this. Monkeys are everywhere in Bali, but if you want to see them up close, the sacred monkey forest in Ubud is the place to go. It's home to over 1,200 long-tailed macaques. They're cute, they're chaotic, and they'll absolutely steal your stuff if you're not careful. So zip your bags, hold on to your sunglasses, and remember you're in their territory. So we've seen monkeys eating, sleeping, mating, fighting, breastfeeding. That was really fun. In Balinese Hinduism, monkeys are considered guardians of the temple. So they're respected and protected here, which kind of explains the confidence and the cheekiness. There's another one.
Quando você sorriu, chorei. Eu nunca pude imaginar que isso fosse acontecer. E numa bola de cristal vi o futuro transformar. E o que era bom ficou legal. Passarinho da montanha, quando chega, voou, voou. 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 Que o vento leve logo já. Vento leve, love logo já. Que vento leve, love logo já. Que vento leve logo, logo.
On the northeast side of Bali sits Mount Batur, an active volcano known for its stunning sunrise views. But to catch it, you'll need to wake up at 2 a.m. There are a few ways to get up there. You can hike it for about 2 hours, or take the lazy route like I did and go by jeep. It was a bumpy, slightly disorienting ride up, followed by a long, cold wait in the dark.
5 minutes to go. The clouds still seem pretty thick.
But then, the sun finally starts to break through the clouds and slowly paints the sky in all shades of red and yellow. When you're running on 4 hours of sleep, coffee stops being a choice and becomes a necessity. So next stop, coffee plantation. We're shown how coffee is grown, processed, and roasted, from coffee cherries on the tree to the beans we drink every day. And as someone who probably consumes a little too much coffee but never really questioned where it comes from, this was truly eye-opening. We also met a very sleepy civet, the animal behind kopi luwak, where the beans go through a very unique process before being collected. At the end, you get to try a full tasting, 7 coffees and 7 teas, and if you pay a little extra, the infamous luwak coffee as well.
I've actually never had coffee tasting before. Bali coffee. Bali cacao. So rich. Ginseng coffee. It almost tastes like toffee, coconut coffee. It's just getting sweeter and sweeter. Vanilla coffee. Nice. Vanilla. Ginger coffee. Ooh. Spicy. It's nice though. It's like warming. Rosella. Fruity. They do really like their sugar here. Mangosteen. Lemon grass tea. Turmeric tea. So sweet. Lemon tea. Ginger tea with a side of flies. Oh, so sweet. Finally, avocado coffee. It almost tastes banana-y. And this is the famous luwak coffee. Sour, rich, aromatic. I don't know, I just feel like the Vietnam one is more chocolatey rather than sour. This is less bitter, but it's very sour. Maybe we just don't understand coffee. Okay.
If you spend any time researching for places to eat in Bali, you've probably come across the word warung everywhere. It basically means a small local eatery, simple, affordable, and often where you'll find the best food. Warung pulau kelapa was without question the best meal I had in Bali.
This is like a fried spring roll thingy, stuffed with chicken.
It's crispy, savory, very good start.
And then the dish that I am most looking forward to, pork ribs.
Rich, slightly sweet, deeply aromatic, and fall off the bone tender. served with sambal matang, a Balinese-style chili relish made with shallots, chilies, lemongrass, super fresh and bright, and perfect for cutting through the richness of the meat.
Not fatty at all. And not overly sweet. No wonder it's the first thing on the menu.
And, of course, nasi goreng with chicken satay. Indonesia's iconic fried rice, smoky, savory, and full of umami. Moral of the story, if a place looks simple and smells amazing, you can't go too wrong.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cup my tea. I can take what I need to get by. It doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again? Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone.
We ended the day at Papali's, a popular Taiwanese noodle and dumpling spot in Canggu. Beef noodles, xiaolongbao, chicken bites, cucumber salad. And after a 2 a.m. start, too many car rides, too much coffee, and the best pork ribs of my life, there was something genuinely comforting about a bowl of noodles that just tasted like home. Another early morning, another pickup in the dark. Because if there's one thing you can count on when traveling Bali, it's that you're not getting much sleep. This time, a day trip to Nusa Penida, a smaller island off the southeast coast of Bali, about 45 minutes away by fast boat. What was supposed to be a full day of snorkeling and swimming in clear blue water turned into, among other things, the day I lost my camera to the Indian Ocean. But we'll get to that. The tour itself was incredible. The sea around Nusa Penida is stunning, but also very rough, especially at Menta Point, which is notorious for strong currents. You need experienced guides here. This is not a place to wing it. But if the conditions are right, you get to see them. Manta rays, enormous, gliding through the water like they're flying in slow motion. Nothing prepares you for how big they actually are up close. And then sea turtles. Calm, graceful, completely unbothered by your presence. They have been on this planet far longer than we have, just going about their day. Somewhere between the coral, the manta rays, and the getting tossed around in the ocean, my camera gave up. Turns out, waterproof up to 20 meters without a case is in fact just advertising. I guess some of the best moments in life are meant to be captured. After a full day in the water, not nearly enough sunscreen, and one very dead camera, the day still wasn't done. We made our way south to Uluwatu, just in time for sunset and the famous kecak dance that has been performed here for decades. No instruments, just voices. Dozens of men chanting in rhythm, telling a story of gods, demons, and a battle between good and evil. And right at the climax, fire. All the while, the sky slowly shifting from gold to orange to deep red. Some days don't go the way you planned, but honestly, I still do it all over again.
I lost my camera to the Indian Ocean. We did 5 snorkeling sessions yesterday, and during the last one, which I was already a little hesitant to go in, but then I thought, you only live once. So I did, and as soon as I jumped in, the pressure must have pushed the charging lid open. So water got in and the camera is dead immediately. I've been sulking all of last night, but I think I'm ready to move on. It is what it is, and it's just the camera. It's our last day in Bali, so I'm going to enjoy as much as I can and see what Canggu has to offer. And first things first, food.
We ended up grabbing a bite at the hotel restaurant, which turns out to be a bit of a hidden gem, tucked away from the busy roads, overlooking the pool, and serving some really good food.
This is my Balinese-style crispy duck and rice.
Not quite Peking duck, but this was the dish that made me fall in love with sambal. Spicy, bright, slightly tangy. The kind of sauce that makes everything taste better, and now I'm convinced should be on every table, everywhere, always.
Then we also got an assortment of satay with fish, beef, pork, and chicken.
At some point, I completely lost track of which meat was which, but it didn't matter, because once it's grilled, smoky, and covered in that sweet, salty peanut sauce, everything tastes good. Bali is one of those places that people have very strong opinions about. Some call it paradise, others see the chaos, the noise, the rubbish floating in the water. And honestly, both are true. 5 days in Bali felt long and incredibly short. And sitting beside Batu Bolong beach, sipping on a genuinely disappointing coconut, I realized something. It might not be perfect, but that's exactly what makes it unforgettable.